We are uncovering the view that governs the world, but illegally, unofficially. Why does this view remain hidden and is not emphasized by everyone? Why should it remain hidden? Do you think you know what's the most unacceptable and forbidden behavior in worldview? Is it something that's considered a crime by law? Do you think the most competitive belief system for your favorite religion, philosophy, or political doctrine comes from another religion or philosophy? Is there a way we're all experts without reading or attending lectures? And if that's the most important thing, why hasn't it made education meaningless? I'm an expert on worldviews, but the mission of this channel is the real focus, though we'll get to that later. Imagine a philosophical book locked away in an attic chest. It's about a forbidden teaching that everyone is ashamed of. The worst thing is if it ever becomes widely shared, official, and promoted. Yeah, there's a philosophy that shouldn't be allowed to develop or spread because it's seen as evil and corrupt. Everyone thinks it's right for it to be suppressed by the mainstream and accepted philosophies, like a Cinderella story. We're not talking about some weird, twisted view, but a philosophy that most people agree with, that the common folk actually live by, and that essentially rules the world. People secretly visit the attic to read this forbidden book, but quickly deny it when anyone gives them a disapproving look or asks questions. The philosophies and traditions that are popular at the ball have all the power and respect, trying to crush Cinderella, silence her, or dismiss her as irrelevant and denying her influence. Yeah, there's basically a taboo against developing unofficial philosophies. Most philosophies and religions are accepted because they inspire pride and hope in their followers, and people are fine with being identified by the names of those teachings. It's understandable. People see the world through their worldview and hope for the good it brings. But how are people who have a corrupt, dangerous worldview supposed to understand the world? What trust can we place in them if we see them not just as underdogs like Cinderella, but as being influenced by evil? That's why this philosophy is pushed out of culture and hidden from society. So, what's this philosophy really? Just hang on a bit more. To give a hint about its role in life, let's picture not a fairy tale hero, but a regular modern person, someone we don't know, a guy named James. James, as an ordinary guy, has already become a follower of one of these views. Through it, he understands the world better and it gives him hope. James has read somewhere about how many followers a popular philosophy has and how long it's been influencing the world. But James is confused, and we even see him getting frustrated. How does he deal with those who are dumber than him, those from far-off lands with strange beliefs, especially when they arrogantly refuse to accept that they are, by origin, dumber than his ancestors, who chose to be born in a place with the right views? And how does an ordinary guy like James get along with the fools of the rest of the world? What connects him to them in their disagreement? The truth is, James understands and is well understood by almost everyone in the world. Not when it comes to high ideals, God names, fancy clothes, or ideas about a bright future, but about material needs, what they're afraid of, what people do when they're bad, and how we should act with strangers. When it comes to being tricky and bad, we don't need teachers or thick books. On this, we all know the same things, and that's why we all kind of resemble each other. James is part of a shared world where everyone shares a common philosophy. The world we live in is shaped by one philosophy, which drives public life, and that's the practical philosophy of everyday common consciousness. However, this flows into patterns and bad habits that every James out there knows and is good at, and we can lightly call these habits selfish, evil, and aggressive. On this channel, we'll talk a lot about how this happens and in what forms. We'll explain everything. So, what will confuse James get out of all this noise? He wants to get along better with those with different views, wants to be sure he's not fooled by his own views, and wants to achieve the best he can hope for. Great, that's exactly what he'll get from us. Finally, this philosophy has only a faint connection to the famous and official worldviews, the bright philosophical and religious doctrines explaining the world. Of course, we cannot accept a philosophy of decay and evil. We must deal with it. But until now, we have only concealed it, tabooed it, denied its existence, or diminished it. Has this helped James? It spreads and imposes itself more and more. Today, it is many times stronger, larger in scale, and more influential than the most popular scientific and philosophical teachings in history, as well as numerous religions taken together. For further insight into the dimensions of this issue, as well as its solution, follow this channel, It's a gold mine.